Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. Today with us is Hope Zvara. She is CEO at Mother Trucker Yoga. We're going to talk about yoga and the positive impact it can have in truckers' life. We're going to talk about meditation, spirituality, and how it can help us go through life. I mean, Hope is quite an interesting person. She's a creator, a very creative person, and is used to these kinds of interviews, I guess. She's done a fair amount of speaking. So yeah, driver fitness, driver safety, trucking fitness, trucking health. Trucking, I mean, there's a lot of truckers in the US, and AI is apparently not about to replace them as soon as we think. So it's quite an important topic and an interesting niche, say the least. This podcast has been brought to you by Podfire.com. Podfire is my company for you to start, scale, or be invited to podcasts like this one. Find sponsors, monetize podcasting, basically. Because podcasts, you can use it to learn. You can use it to connect with great folks like Hope. You can use it to generate leads and even generate clients. So podfire.com for you to start, scale, be invited to a pod. Hope, I am glad to have you on the podcast. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and about Mother Trucker Yoga?
Absolutely. Well, one of the biggest questions I always get is, yoga and trucking. And no, I'm not a truck driver. I did not get my start in trucking. I really got my start in yoga. I was struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, and there was just, I don't want to say my family gave up on me, but it was kind of like they didn't know what else to do for me. And then I found yoga, and yoga was kind of this weekly ritual of second chances for me, where I'd show up for class and something amazing would happen, where my mind would be clear and I would feel calm and felt connected. And I had not felt like that in a really long time. And eventually that ongoing yoga class led me to a teacher training. And eventually I opened my own yoga studio and then my own state approved vocational school here in my home state in Wisconsin. And I started to attract a lot of people that were just like me, just like many of you listening. You felt a little broken, a little lost, like maybe you didn't like the body you were living in, and just you needed a break. You needed a break from all of that stuff looming around in your head, all of those thoughts, everyone around you. And yoga has this way of kind of like separating yourself from life, not in a disconnecting way, but more of like a let's get reconnecting way. And that really is what pushed me into recovery and pushed me into the life that I'm living today, mind, body, and spirit. But over that 20-year stint teaching yoga to thousands of people, I was always looking for something more. I felt like this really isn't 100% where I belong. I'm a super creative person. I was always trying to innovate things, always trying to kind of streamline and kind of move things forward. And I didn't feel like the yoga community was as receptive as I thought on a more of a business level. And then 6 years ago, I was at a local business mixer here in my small hometown. And I met a guy that was in trucking. I was in yoga, and I was trying to pitch him corporate wellness because that was partly what I did at the time, trying to grow my business. And he looked at me and said, "Do you have anything for truck drivers? Like in the cab of the truck?" And I think I'm funny sometimes. And I threw up my hands and I said, "Mother Trucker Yoga," just trying to get a rise out of this guy. He looked at me and said, "That's brilliant. You want to go into business together?" We shook on it. The next morning, he called me up, and in 4 months, we built a business from scratch. We meaning me. And a year later, I bought him out of the business because, well, really, I think it was my vision, kind of my creativity. He was kind of that door for me into trucking. And in the last 6 years, I've helped more than 200,000 drivers change lanes in their health and fitness in various capacities, all through the premise of small, simple changes. This isn't about you doing Warrior 2 in your truck. This is not about being vegan. This is about you establishing a baseline for what it means to be healthy while being a truck driver. This is about the little things. I have a motto that if it takes longer than 1 or 2 minutes, I'm not going to teach it to you, because most people, especially drivers, just don't have the time. But in my mind, you're sacrificing the most precious thing to try to save time, and that's your health. And that's what I'm here to change.
Wow, microphone wouldn't pop up. That is a lot of truckers, 200K. What do you sell exactly to them? Courses, coaching? I see the pain relief cream, which is super smart, by the way. Tell us about the business model.
Yeah, so I kind of have a couple of different business tiers that I work with drivers. I do a lot of partnership. I work with Sirius XM Radio. I'm on Road Dog Trucking every single month, so I have a spot there as a guest continuously for the last, oh gosh, almost a year now. So I have a lot of outreach on the radio, which is great. I do a lot of stuff like this. But as far as my business model goes, we have a membership site. So drivers can pay a monthly fee or for a year, and they can get access to our database. I also work with CDL schools, which is commercial driver's license schools, and really educating the students on what lifestyle health and wellness looks like before they come into the industry, as well as working with trucking companies and providing them a baseline of wellness services. One of the things I realized over the last 6 years is the type of wellness programming trucking companies are offering is very cookie cutter, and they're trying to take traditional corporate America style wellness and health services and slap them onto truck drivers. And that just doesn't work in this industry. They're not harmonious. They're not congruent. And so just really trying to help change that model. But one of the things that I've always loved, I believe as a business person, like you should lean into your strengths and you should lean into kind of your God-given talents. And I see that a lot in the business world, people trying to be people that they're not. I'm super innovative. I love creating products that solve problems. So I have a whole product line called Road Relief Wellness. We sell in Love's truck stops across the country, and then a few other trucking stop lines coming here in 2023, 2024 that I'm really excited about. But it's just products, health and wellness and personal care products specifically for truck drivers to help them get back on the road and feel good again. And for me, I believe that when you're talking to a specific audience, mine just happens to be truck drivers, you should be all in on them, speaking to them. And from a business perspective, I see this mistake made a lot amongst new business owners where they're trying to speak to everyone because they're worried that they might miss something. They're worried that like, oh, they might miss an opportunity. But I'm telling you that when you do that, you miss every opportunity. And that's really beared a lot of fruit for me in my business.
And what's your ICP like? What are truckers like? Are they very manly and old school as I picture them? Like, what is their psychometrics?
You know, it's really changing in the industry. I would say that there still are a lot of the old cowboys in the industry, which many of them are my clients and I love them dearly. They're the ones that they've been driving for 30, 40, 50, some 60 years. And they're lifers. This is what they do. This is who they are. It's in their DNA. Many of them are third, fourth generation. And they're just really awesome people, definitely predominantly men, but the generation coming into trucking is really split. Yes, it's still male, predominantly male, but we're seeing now 30+% female enrolling in CDL schools. And these are numbers that we've never seen before, because this lifestyle can work for a lot of people when implemented correctly. And it's a really lucrative business when you know how to handle it. And that's really kind of where Mother Trucker Yoga comes in. One of the trends I've seen is when drivers leave the industry, they're not leaving it because they don't like trucking. They're not leaving the industry because it's too hard to drive a truck. They're leaving it because they don't know how to handle the lifestyle. And that is something that I can help fix. That is something that I can help prevent with Mother Trucker Yoga for drivers before they enter into the industry with just a little better pre-education.
Wow. Do they also leave because of injuries? Because I have some family members that work in physical jobs, and whether it's construction or mechanics, and the injury rate is surprisingly high just from repetition, just from ergonomics. I mean, sitting in a truck for 9-10 hours a day, what kind of injuries can these folks get, and how long do they need to invest into stretching and yoga to prevent that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I think like any job, we're looking at repetitive injury strain amongst all industries. I mean, sitting at a computer, working on a mouse, you're getting repetitive injury strains in your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. But for drivers, herniation in the lower back is really big. Sciatica is a big issue. Definitely neck and shoulder pain. One of the big issues for drivers is sleep issues. It's not falling asleep, it's staying asleep and getting longer stints of continuous sleep. And there is countless research behind lack of sleep or lack of consistent sleep, leading to a slew of health issues. And so these types of things are really what drivers need to be better equipped with, because we're going to be able to learn the mechanics of the road eventually, no matter what. But if we don't establish healthy routines, this is not just for truck drivers, but I think for everyone across the board, like, we're going to see those types of issues start to take us out of our job. And for a driver, that's off the road, because if you can't sit because your sciatica is so debilitating, you're not getting a paycheck. If you can't keep your eyes open and you're swerving on the road, well, guess what? You're going to get pulled from that load. And so these are things we need to take more seriously, not just if you're a truck driver, but I think as someone outside of the industry, if you're listening to this, just better support of those drivers, because last time I checked, they're the ones getting you your Amazon Prime packages the day you order it. They're the ones getting you the food to the grocery stores. They're the ones making sure you have all your clothes that you ordered from Shein.com, from the cargo container it was shipped to from China. Like, these are the drivers that are doing that. And so many people look away from them because it looks like it's not that glamorous of a lifestyle. I got to be honest with you. Some of my drivers, they've seen all 50 states. They've seen parts of the country I didn't even know existed. I mean, they're so cultured. They know so much about what it is and where it is that we come from, way more than the average person does, but we just don't see them, because they're like a gust in the wind on the highway day in and day out. And so injury is definitely an issue, but I also think awareness and other means outside of the industry can help support these drivers much better.
What about what they're sitting on? Is there like a posture device that they can seats that would greatly minimize damage to their lower backs?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. So I love a company called Backshield, Backshield. They actually have a support for computer chairs as well. Gary is a great guy. They did about, I don't know, 5+ years of ergonomic research, and it is an amazing support. It's like $100. They sell in TAs and truck stops. They sell online. I think they're on Amazon. But it is such an easy fix to keep that lumbar curvature in your lower back while driving. I have one in every one of my vehicles. It's a game changer. But also nowadays, for truck seats, outside of the factory seat that you're getting when you get a truck, for a couple $100, $1,000, you can get a great seat that has the right support, that has all of the amenities that you need. And in my mind, I know that sometimes is a scary upfront cost, but what's a really scary cost is surgery. What's a really scary cost is getting laid off in your job for 6 weeks because you can't sit long term. A scary cost is constant chiropractor injections, all of that stuff. And so trying to also change our outlook on preventative healthcare or preventative wellness as an investment in your long-term health. We still, as a society, at least here in the US, are so backwards with that we just won't spend the money if we don't see the problem. And I think that is the absolute backwards approach.
What about their trucks and being in the cabin, like the neck posture, like if they constantly look down? Is there like a weight at the neck level to just not get these neck issues that I guess can be pretty severe over the span of a 20-year career?
Yeah, I think one of the things I always teach my drivers is just remember what the headrest is for. And it's not to necessarily rest your head, but I'm a big fan of using technology in a way that can really help further your health, well-being, and even your career. And so I always recommend to drivers, go on your phone, use a different sound than like your alarm to wake up. Maybe it's like a bird chirp, maybe it's like a gong bell, something like that, a disrupting sound. Every half an hour, And when that goes off, that's your reminder to sit up straight and find your headrest. And what that does is it reminds you how far forward your head and shoulders have come as the day's gone on. Because most drivers, when they get into the truck, they're pretty upright, unless your body is pretty rickety and you've done some damage to yourself that might not naturally be that. But most of us are more upright in the morning and we sit upright. But all of a sudden, like 10 a.m., noon, 3 p.m. roll around, and we're like hunched over the steering wheel. And this is something we all can check for people that are driving road trips, anything like that, to just slide your chin back, find the headrest with the lower part of your head, your occipital bone, and just find the back of your shoulders to the seat. What you'll notice is, whoa, I am not as open as I should be. Now, I'm not saying you have to stay there because that's really awkward and really stiff, but rather use it as a check-in point, because lifestyle health, lifestyle fitness, lifestyle wellness isn't like do this one thing and then magically you're going to be fixed. Go to this yoga class and magically all your problems are going to go away. This is rather establishing daily routines and habits that become a part of who you are. Like I would never leave my house and not have brushed my teeth. Like I'm going to put my contacts in or my glasses on or I'm blind. Like I'm going to do that as a part of my routine for my health and safety. The same should be true for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. So if that's something as simple as getting a back support, finding the headrest with the back of your head on a regular basis, maybe doing some wrist circles or doing some pelvic tilting to help reduce back pain and stiffness when you get out of the truck. It's not so much the question, how can I? It's why aren't you?
Right. What about like the steering wheel? Any like methods? Because I guess I forgot what they're called, the sciatus, like when you have your arm up, the muscle under the omoplata. I have, I think, an injury like in there. I haven't felt pain in a while, so that's good. But I guess from holding a steering wheel for that long, any tips for that to not get some injuries?
Absolutely. And so for those of you listening, if you're like, well, I don't drive that long, this injury might not relate to me. For those of you mousing, this is a very similar issue because our shoulders, our upper body is in this awkward placement for long extended periods of time. If you're mousing and your arm is kind of extended out, your elbows away, you're going to feel those same issues in your serratus, in your upper back, your traps, all through your shoulder. You may have some residual pain into your neck, numbness and tingling into your hands. If you feel like that might be me, driver or not, things that you can be focused on and trying to do are simple things like chest openers, taking your arms behind you and really trying to roll your shoulders open and pull your thumbs up away from your back. Hanging is one of the best therapies that we can do for our body. Now, you don't have to go to the park and hang on a monkey bar. You don't have to go to a gym and hang on a pull-up bar, but grab the lip of a kitchen sink or the bathroom sink and pull back and lean into your shoulders. You could do that right off the truck step and trying to create some traction and space in your shoulders, your spine. You might hear some clicking and popping. Those are great exercises to be doing on a regular basis, but also thinking about building stability. This is where resistance bands come in really nicely. This can be something as simple as holding the resistance band in front of you with your arms straight at shoulder height, at about shoulders width, and just pulling open. I call it clockwork, doing it all different angles like 12 and 6, 3 and 9, 2 and 7, and doing that for a minute straight and just continuously rotating. You're strengthening your shoulder sockets, the stability of your upper back, which is going to reduce some of that pain and discomfort, some of that numbness and tingling that we're feeling. And if it only takes you a minute, my gosh, you could do this on your break. Drivers have a required 30-minute break. You could do this right before you go to bed. You could do this when you wake up in the morning. The idea of lifestyle fitness is that things you can easily insert into your everyday life where you don't need gym clothes, you don't need a gym. It's just becoming a part of your everyday routine.
What about the mental part? Like, three questions in one here. Do truckers still fall asleep? That is one, under the wheel. How can we prevent that? Second, can they listen to audiobooks and get education while they drive? And third, can they make like extra income while driving? Can they take calls and make money in some sort?
Yeah. So the first question, what was it for you? Had a lot of them there. So the first one was
Sleep.
mental health, sleep. So the biggest issue for drivers, especially if they're a team driver, is you're sleeping when someone else is driving. And so sometimes the environment is just not conducive to quality sleep. And that is a constant uphill battle for drivers that we are constantly combating. One of the things that I often bring to the table for drivers to think about is I look at our sleep as kind of like a glass of water. And when you wake up in the morning, your glass is full. And the goal is to empty the glass of water for when you go to bed at night. So you fall asleep and you get like this nice deep rest. But if you don't do enough during the day, I'm talking like physical activity, because we can mentally be fatigued, but physically not. And then we have restless sleep. So if we go to bed at night and we've never emptied our cup completely, it's no wonder you're waking up regularly throughout the night because your body has not exhausted itself. And so that's kind of where this like lifestyle fitness comes in. Walk laps around your truck on your 30-minute break. Do some of these simple exercises that I'm teaching you right in the cab of your truck. Nobody even has to know, to help you kind of fatigue your body and exhaust your body the way it's designed to, so that you can have a better quality sleep. So yes, sleep is an issue. Falling asleep at the wheel is an issue. A lot of drivers are still leaning into things like caffeine to try to keep them awake. But if we can do, again, a little bit more preventative, a little bit more on the front end to better equip ourselves, we can hopefully be more alert and aware while on the road. So that's one thing. And then the second thing, what was the second question? I apologize. You had three of them
Yeah,
there.
the second one is about reading or listening to audiobooks while on the road, getting educated through podcasts and so forth, because
Oh
you
my
got so
gosh.
many time to kill.
So many drivers are listening to podcasts, talk radio, audio books, you name it. When I have a question about things, I often go to my drivers first, because they know the most about electronics. They're the most up on political issues. Like they have learned or listened to the most random podcasts you have ever heard of, and they've kind of clued into them because they have that time. And so many of them are using that time to their advantage. But I got to be honest, I think anybody that does that for 8, 10 hours straight for 2, 3, 5, 10, 12 years, everything gets old after a while. And so drivers, I think that's a misconception, that they're not educated, that they're kind of bottom of the barrel. But many of the drivers I work with, one, that they served is the first big thing. They're vets, but two, they are more educated than the educated people that I know. And it's because they're furthering their education while they're driving. Do drivers have side hustles? Yes. Now, every company that drivers work for is different as far as what they can be doing with their time and so on. But many of drivers have different side hustles. I know a lot of the women, they sell things like Color Street or skincare. Some of them sell Tupperware. Some of them are making things on Etsy, you name it. And so there's lots of different things that drivers are doing as a means for a second income. Many of them dabble in the stock market, do silver and gold. I mean, you name it. It's so diverse, some of the additional streams of revenue and just interest level that many of the drivers that I know have taken on. I have learned so much from the driving community beyond just the actual driving itself.
How do you target your clients? Facebook ads, like job, trucking, or like how do you get in touch with your clients to get more sales?
Yeah, great question. And so when I started 6 years ago, I recognized something really important when it comes to running a business. While everyone else is skipping the actual relationship building and wanting to go right to ads, right to all this stuff. And I was a new business. I didn't have a lot of money. I saw one thing I could do really well, and that was build relationships. So I went to dozens of businesses in the trucking industry that were not in the niche I was, but we're supporting drivers in a different way means, and said, hey, we both need drivers to be healthy in order for our businesses to thrive. How can we help each other? And I started building partnerships, sponsorships, relationships with other companies in the industry to better support my cause because my cause helped their cause. And I did that for 2 or 3 or 4 years while I was proving the concept of what I had built as programming. And something amazing happened. My business organically started to grow. I was able to build an organic following on Facebook and Instagram. I was able to bring in customers, repeat customers, because we all know the direction we're heading into right now in the economy. It's not about new customers, it's about keeping the customers that you have as repeat buyers. That's almost more critical now than ever before. And the way to do that is through relationships. It wasn't until about 8 months ago that I even started to consider dabbling in Facebook ads, because my business had grown to a level where I was stable enough to say, okay, I'm going to bring in this other business. I've proven concept. I've built relationships. I have a name in the industry. Now I'm going to take on this other piece. In my mind, I think people do it backwards. I think they don't establish themselves. They don't have credibility. They don't have clarity in their business. And they just go and jump into all these other means to try to bring in business, and they don't have repeat customers. People don't stay very long. They're super confused. They're jumping all over. Why is that? Because they didn't start from ground zero. I'm not saying you have to stay at ground zero. I'm not saying that you have to like hustle till the ends of the earth, but spend a little bit of time establishing yourself. That can bear fruit for you time and time and time again. I truly am now working smarter, not harder.
Right. And what's next for your business in terms of innovations, new products you're thinking about?
Yeah, for me right now, my big focus is my product line, is expanding that. We brought on about 15 new products for road relief wellness and just expanding into more truck stops. We're already in Loves, and we're looking to get into 3 different truck stop chains here now, end of 2023 into 2024, and just really gearing up and establishing myself in that means as the #1 wellness and personal grooming company for truck stops and for truckers. And so I don't know if you know a lot about supply chain and securing products and innovation in that department, but this has been a whole new thing for me the last couple of years, and it's been really fun and really exciting and a long time coming. So that's kind of my baby right now, is really getting that off the ground and really moving that forward to help truck drivers. For me, when I saw a gap for drivers, is no products geared towards them. It was kind of secondhand, one-off products. Oh, here you go. Here's this for you. Or here, this is in the truck stop. You should use this. But it was all things geared towards other people. I really wanted to create a brand for them that they knew was for them, with the highest quality products possible. And it's paid off, because now we're able to move out into truck stops all across the country.
Well, it's a really cool niche that you're in. And yeah, I think you're going to be massively successful. And yes, products are hard. My first company was a nootropic, a supplement for the brain, and we had to shut that one down. I often speak to CEOs on this podcast that also have physical product ideas and are somewhat struggling. So yes, if you have the service business and the product business, both can do pretty well together. Product scales more, right? Service has higher margins, higher profitability. So pretty cool that you're into both. Last question's a deep one. Like, if you're on your deathbed, let's say 30, 40 years from now, what will you want to have accomplished in this life?
If I'm on my deathbed 30, 40 years from now, and I look back at my life, I want to see that I made a substantial change in the trucking industry. If I evolve beyond that, great. But where people's lives have improved for the better, where they can look back and say, I am so glad I learned blank. My life is better for it. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to be on the bottom of the barrel, have your face in the dirt, and feel like, what's the point? And I don't want anyone to ever have to feel like that. And so if I can look back and I can say, I really made a difference in the quality of people's lives, where they are better because of it, and X, Y, and Z, my life was all for it then. Like that it was not all for nothing.
Right. And yeah, that wasn't my last question. I forgot to ask you about 10X stage. Can you tell me about that one and how you met Grant?
Absolutely. And so, like all good things, it kind of goes back to the answer I think I gave you earlier. Taking the time to establish your brand and business, being clear in who you are and the process of that, And that's been an evolving for me over the last 20 plus years. But along the way, I had established myself in building quality products, business coaching, training, and I had just met somebody through somebody that afforded me the opportunity to do some training for them, training speakers, helping businesses find clarity, and eventually got cooked up with 10X Stages in Grant Cardone. And I've been afforded the opportunity to train their licensees, to train thousands of speakers through 10X Stages. And that's just grown again because I've established my own business, my own brand, and I practiced what I preached. And so when people sometimes, I think, look at other people and like, oh, how'd you get that opportunity? I worked my ass off for it. That's what I did. And that opportunity came to me and I didn't disappoint. And so that's why I got asked back again and again and again. And 6 years later, I'm still doing work for them. Why? Because I'm good at what I do, because I've done it myself. And so if you're a business owner listening right now and you have these big dreams, go out and do what you want to do for others, yourself first. Establish yourself, practice what you preach, make the mistakes and keep going. That is what's going to attract other people, higher level people, to say, whoa, I need to pay attention to them, and then want to partner with you, want to sponsor you, want to be your consumer. But until you do that, I got news for you. There are no amount of Facebook ads that is going to blanket the reality that you are not who you say you are. And I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm saying I've done the work and I'm able to reap the rewards. I still got work to do and I can't wait to see what the rewards come after that. But if you're willing to just put in a little bit more time, energy, and effort towards this business that you want to grow as big as you say you do, you will not be disappointed if you're willing to do the work.
Love it. And talking about that, it's Monday. What do you hope to accomplish this week?
Oh man, this week I hope to accomplish a lot of great things. One, I am working on a new ebook for my drivers on health. And I am also currently setting up with a new distribution company for our product line, Road Relief Wellness. So I hope to get that moving and in the works. That can always be a tedious process, but I am looking forward to that.
Love it. And that is a wrap. Where can people find out more about you, Hope?
Absolutely. You can go to mothertruckeryoga.com. Any social platform, just type in Mother Trucker Yoga and you can check us out, see what we're up to and what we have new for drivers. Or heck, hey, if you have a little pain and you're on the go, we might be able to help you too.
And I am Charles Cormier, host of Founder Wisdom Podcast.com. If you want to start scale, be invited to podcast that is podbuyer.com. That was Hope Zvara.